Goody will drive. Left-handed flush over the top of Kepning.
Pullback, step back three. Bottom!
Mavericks, it's short. Tip back in. Weaver got it. Yes!
Neely, the handoff. Jones for the tie.
Oh, he's fouled and one.
Presents itself is what you got to take. You can't.
It's knocked away. Still loose. Doherty the heave. Oh, my God.
Welcome to the Straight Outta WAC podcast.
Gosh, my internet's already having problems, Daryl. I mean, it's just one of those things to start off this Monday. Happy WAC Vegas Eve, everybody. We are less than 48 hours away from tip-off of the 2024 Hercules Tires WAC tournament at Orleans Arena. I think Daryl was doing the same thing I was, both watching the WCC semifinal between Santa Clara and St. Mary's. Looking forward to actually being at the WCC title game tomorrow night at the Orleans Arena, and then watching them tear it all down, tear out all the branding at Orleans or at the Orleans Hotel and Casino to put up all the WAC stuff. It's always a good time. So, we've made it, Daryl. We made it. Well, I guess technically we haven't made it yet. Not until they tip off on Wednesday, because, you know, I don't want to say it, but a couple of years ago we thought we had it, and it got taken away from us right before tip off.
I got one last high school boys volleyball match tomorrow, and then I am right there with you.
Yeah, I was so pumped to have the day off today. Took my kid to Fat Cats. We played some arcade games, and I got him 4 stuffed animals out of those, you know, pincher machines. So that was fun. Got him a birthday present because I'm gonna miss his birthday on Friday. So
is that like Utah's version of mulligans, like your miniature?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we still have mulligans, but it's a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like mulligans, but yeah. So
we have a mulligans in Murrieta if you make the Cal Baptist trip next year.
Okay, all right. I'll have to figure that out. Because I need to get back to Riverside. It's been a couple of years. So, anyways, guys, we are going to talk about the first round games tonight. That are happening on Wednesday. Tip off at noon Pacific time. That's noon Pacific time. 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock Eastern time. 2 o'clock Central and 1 o'clock Mountain time. First game features a Central time zone team against the Mountain time zone team in the UT Arlington Lady Mavs as the 5 seed, and the 6 seed. 5 seed. Yeah. And the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, the defending WAC regular season and tournament champs, as the 8 seed. If you have any questions, send them to us as we're talking here. We love the comments. We love the thoughts. We love hearing what you have to say. We're going to preview these games, these first-round games. Then we're going to give our predictions for these first-round games. And then we'll talk about the postseason awards that came out earlier today. Some surprises, not so much, but we're going to talk about them anyways. So let's start off with a little 30-second clip, and we'll come right back.
WAC Vegas is back. The best fans, championship basketball, all in exciting Las Vegas. Join us March 13th through the 16th at the Orleans Arena for the 2024 Hercules Tires WAC basketball tournament. Don't miss the crowning of a men's and women's champion. For more information, go to wacsports.com/WACVegas.
Get your tickets now. I think for the title game, if I remember right, looking at it, for the men's title game, it's like $65 for a general admission ticket right now.
Sounds about
so
right.
Not too bad. Considering it's like $120, $130 for a WCC title game ticket right now, that's not too bad. So get yours now. You go to wacsports.com/WACVegas, and you can purchase your tickets right there through that site. So looking forward to it. But I want to make something very clear, everybody. I'm not making any predictions tonight on who I think is going to win the tournament, because you'll have to watch tomorrow's episode of the WAC podcast to hear my predictions. I was on with Kendra Sheehan and Eric Danner tonight. We recorded. They'll come out tomorrow, and I gave my predictions, and I think some people might be shocked at what I picked. It's almost like shocked at what I picked. If you think you know who I picked, comments. Shed us a comment. But anyways, let's get to these first round matchups. First round, first game of the day. Like I said, 5 seed UT Arlington, 8 seed Southern Utah. UT Arlington swept the season series. I believe they won by 20 plus at College Park Center. And then they won by 7 or 8 in Cedar City. What's going to happen here, Daryl? Let's hear your breakdown and your thoughts on this ball game.
Southern Utah has been shooting it better from the 3-point line recently. I'm just a little concerned about the ability to handle Adela Valkova and Avery Brittingham down low. No Megan Smith for the last month and a half or so, almost 2 months. I just fear that UT Arlington is going to have too much size for the Thunderbirds. And the only way Southern Utah keeps this game anywhere near close is if they hit a bunch of threes.
Yes. I think I said it today that we previewed this game earlier, that Southern Utah has to muddy the waters in this ball game. They can't get into a shootout because it's not going to go their way. UT Arlington is just too good that way, and they have too many players, more depth than Southern Utah does to get into a game like that. So they have to muddy the waters a little bit. And Tracy Mason's been here. Remember, they won the WAC tournament last year. They won the regular season title last year. And they had to win on the final day of regular season play to get into WAC Vegas. So I think I do think, UT Arlington's a little bit deeper. They're playing better right now. They can hit threes a little bit more consistently. Talia Clark, and Gia Adams are very good. So Nia Threet's been very good as well for Sharika Wright's crew. I don't know, man. It's hard because, Southern Utah plays hard.
They do.
They hit some shots. They can compete with anybody.
I mean, look at the fact that they had SFA down by 28 last week.
Yeah.
26.
But again, it comes down to it. They ran out of gas late. Where SFA, they have a deeper bench. And that's not to say anything against Tracy Mason's team because they've been banged up all year. Like, they don't have the players that they thought they were going to have coming into the season. Tamika Whitman, Megan Smith, Jaden Brown. Like, those three are gone. That would have given them so much depth, but now they have to play the younger core, and their bench is short. So they can't get into a track meet, or else they're going to be in trouble because they're going to run out of gas because they don't have the depth that UT Arlington does. That's my thought. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I think the thing to look for in this one, A, is who controls tempo, and then B, if UT Arlington's able to hit their threes at a higher rate than Southern Utah, then that's going to tell the whole story of that one.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That tips off again at noon Pacific time at Orleans Arena on Wednesday afternoon. That tips off 2024 WAC tournament brought to you by Hercules Tires. I'm going to make my prediction about this game. I think UT Arlington moves on. Like I said, nothing against the T-Birds. They're just depth is a killer, and the fact that you have three players that were probably all well. I know two of the three were going to be starters. I don't know if the third one was. We're going to be starters, and they're not playing at all. Like, it just hurts. It hurts so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with UT Arlington on this one too. All things considered, I think it was a great run for Tracy Mason's bunch to get to the tournament.
Yep.
There's just too much for them to overcome in this one. Yeah,
it's just a tough year for the T-Birds. That's all. The cool thing about this bracket, again, no purple teams are. It's non-purple teams on one side and all purple teams on the other side. So that's kind of cool. I do like that bracket. Like, I'm not going to lie. CBU, Utah Tech, UT Arlington, Southern Utah, like, the pace of those games and the amount of points that are going to be scored in those games is going to be electric and off the charts. Like, I'm so excited for that side of the bracket. Like, it's going to be fantastic.
Well, and when you look at the two sides of the bracket, it's total contrast of style.
Yeah, like it's
it's
all offense on one and
grind you out, meat grind
defense on the other. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jacqueline and Alex may not jump on with us. Alex may jump on with us, but Jacqueline's not. Anyways, so yeah, we both have UT Arlington moving on. Wouldn't be surprised if Southern Utah pulled off a miracle. I mean, they did it a couple times last year at WAC Vegas, so it's not out of the realm of possibility here, Daryl.
No, it's not. We're just saying, I mean, for me at least, the biggest thing is, does Southern Utah have the depth to hang with UTA for 40 minutes?
Yep, 100%. 100%. In the second game of the day, of the first day of the WAC tournament, ACU and Tarleton split the season series. Both won on their home floors. Tarleton played its way into WAC Vegas. ACU's kind of had that 6th seed locked up for about 2 weeks now. ACU's coming off a big game, big win on Saturday over Utah Valley. Tarleton's coming off a big road win over Seattle U, which sent the Texans in their first year under Bill Brock to the WAC tournament for the first time in program history, because they didn't go last year, if you remember right. What do you expect to see in this ball game, Daryl?
This game has me really curious. I think a lot of it's going to depend on which ACU offense shows up. And if it's the ACU offense that took the floor in Orem on Saturday that you saw, it could be a very long afternoon for Bill Brock and company.
But there is that possibility that ACU is not firing on all cylinders. So I'm very interested to see the confidence that the Texans play with, because they had to win at least one of those games this past week, which they did. They lost to Utah Valley, and then they beat Seattle U on Saturday. ACU, like you said, they can score a lot of points if they're hitting their shots, but if they're not, it's not like they're a defensive
juggernaut.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, they take charges like that. That's blatantly obvious. When I watched them on Saturday, but like it's not like it's a stop, like a hold teams to 50 points kind of defense. We're going to try and outscore you, obviously, but we also don't play enough, don't play a ton of defense. We play maybe just enough to win games, right? So this is a very intriguing matchup, to be honest with you. Like it's one of those games that I could see Abilene Christian blowing Tarleton out. But on the flip side of it, it's another game I could see Tarleton upsetting Abilene Christian as well. I mean, Faith Acker, Teresa Da Silva, Bill Brock's crew has played well enough in the season to be in most games. So I don't know, Daryl. This is an intriguing matchup, and it's not like the ACU women's basketball team has had a lot of success at the WAC tournament since they've been in the WAC. They lost in the first round last year after holding a big lead against Sam Houston, and Sam Houston came back in the fourth quarter and beat them over at Michelob Ultra Arena. So what's going to be different this year? That's my question. What's going to be different this year?
Those returners from that team are going to have something to prove in this game because of what happened last year.
Sure, but how many of those returners really have that on their mind? I mean, Bella Earl was there. Addison Martin was there.
Zoe Jackson.
Else? Zoe Jackson was there, but did she get a ton of playing? She didn't get a ton of playing time. But perhaps that should be on their minds. I think the difference maker is Peyton Hull, the freshman of the year, WAC freshman of the year. I think if she goes off like she normally does, ACU wins easily. If she struggles in her first college basketball Division I tournament game, I think Tarleton wins. I'm going to say that right now. If Peyton Hull plays well, ACU wins. If she doesn't, Tarleton wins.
Kyle, I think the other matchup to watch in this game is the battle down low between Faith Acker and Addison Martin. Acker has impressed as a rookie this year, and Martin's had a really good year in her own right.
Big
I think that's,
country, as they call Addison Martin. Big country.
I mean, despite the fact that she missed 7 games, she's done a lot of really good things this year. And I fully expect that battle down low to be a key in the outcome of this game.
Okay, prediction.
Boy, I think Tarleton gets them. It's the oldest cliche in golf. The hardest thing to do after a really low round is follow it up with another really low round. Hardest thing to do in basketball is follow up a hot shooting performance with another hot shooting performance.
Well, the GCU men might argue with you on that one from last year's WAC tournament. I'm just saying.
But you said ACU is staying in time zone, right?
Yeah. Well, technically they come from Utah, which is an hour ahead of Las Vegas. So they're technically, yes, they're still in the time zone, basically.
So they won't have to, have one day to get used to the time zone. I don't know if Tarleton.
I'm assuming Tarleton probably stayed out here too. Because as soon as they found out they won, I bet they stayed out here too.
Yeah, that would be my guess. So neither team flew back. So I think it's going to come down to who executes on the court, and I just don't know if this ACU team can put together 2 really good shooting games in 4 days.
I'm going to go with Peyton Hull goes for 25 and ACU wins. That's my prediction. So we're on the opposite sides. I think Peyton Hull goes off. I think there's a lot riding on her shoulders. And I think she gets it done for ACU and has a big game to make her mark in her first ever WAC tournament. Everybody that's watching, if you want, share your comments on who you think are going to win those first 2 women's games. Again, 12 p.m. Pacific time tip-off at Orleans Arena, UT Arlington, Southern Utah in the 5-8 game. And then at, I believe it's 2:30, if I remember right, yes. 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, ACU as the 6th seed takes on Tarleton as the 7th seed on the women's side. We're going to take a 30-second break, come back, talk about the 2 men's games that are just as intriguing matchups as the women's games.
WAC Vegas is back. The best fans, championship basketball, all in exciting Las Vegas. Join us March 13th through the 16th at the Orleans Arena for the 2024 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament. Don't miss the crowning of a men's and women's champion. For more information, go to wacsports.com/WACVegas.
Yes, we are. I want to say, what time is it? It's 7:48 in Vegas. So, what do I want to say? What are we saying here? 36 hours?
Yep.
40 hours maybe? Yeah, about 40 hours away from tip-off at WAC Vegas. Looking forward to it. Orleans Arena, it's always a good time. We already talked about the first 2 women's games. The UT Arlington versus Southern Utah game, the 5 versus the 8 seed. That tips off the 2024 WAC tournament brought to you by Hercules Tires. And then we talked about ACU and Tarleton in the 6-7 game. The winner of UT Arlington and Southern Utah plays Utah Tech on Thursday. The winner of ACU and Tarleton plays SFA on Thursday. Now, on the men's side, got a couple of intriguing matchups here. 6:00 p.m. Vegas time, Pacific time, whatever you want to call it. Utah Valley takes on CBU. 2 teams in 2 very different spots entering this tournament. Utah Valley has won 7 of 8. They just swept Tarleton and ACU. GCU fans still should be saying thank you to Utah Valley because that gave them a chance to win it outright. I'm just saying. Wolverines swept both games. They smacked the Lancers in Riverside a few weeks ago. Beat them in Orem back in early January. I don't know. I don't know. It hurts me to even think about talking about this game because CBU is such a different team without Dom Daniels.
It is, and the Lancers are the biggest question. How productive a scoring night will they get from Scotty Washington and Blondo Chiquinho? I think that's the biggest
If
question.
Scotty Washington plays, he went out of the game
On the first possession
early
basically.
against GCU with an arm injury, and he never came back. Yeah. So it's we have to keep an eye on if Scotty Washington is going to play. If he's not, then I think CBU is in very big trouble.
Yeah, agreed. Just without Daniels, there's not leading that charge. There's not a lot of firepower behind in Chiquinho and Washington. And assuming Scotty Washington doesn't play in that game, you're looking at one guy to shoulder most of the load.
Yeah. It'll be very challenging. Like I said, Utah Valley's won 7 of 8. They just beat Tarleton ACU. Their one loss was to that UT Arlington team who's won 7 straight heading into WAC Vegas, or 6 straight, heading into WAC Vegas. So, beating a team 3 times in a season is hard. But with the fact that CBU's one is depleted without one of the leading scorers in the WAC, a second team all WAC selection, and Dom Daniels Jr. Without Scotty Washington, who's been really good in one of their guys that could score in bunches, it's going to be challenging, really challenging. Here's a comment. Connor, I don't know how CBU can recover from the loss, especially with the slump coming this tourney. Yeah, you're right. But, okay, let's put it this way. Utah Valley back in January, and early February wasn't very good. They were up and down, struggled offensively, couldn't get anything going, and then enter Ethan Potter, and now all of a sudden they're winning ball games at an alarming rate. I shouldn't say alarming. High rate is a better word. So which Utah Valley team do we get? Here's the other kicker. Utah Valley isn't good at Orleans Arena. They're not. They had a 23-point lead in the second half against Southern Utah in the WAC semifinals last year. They lost that. Then they lost in the NIT Final Four to UAB by 2 in overtime. When they won a share of the WAC regular season title in the 2020-21 season, they lost to New Mexico State in their first game. And then in their first game at Orleans Arena in 2022, they lost to ACU. So I don't know, Daryl. I don't know. I think Utah Valley is going to win simply because CBU just doesn't have the offensive explosiveness, especially if Scotty Washington isn't there.
Yeah, agreed. And this might, if I had to take a guess at margin of victory, this might be the largest margin of victory of the day.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think this is closer just because I don't know. Utah Valley could get caught looking ahead. Okay, they could come in and say, CBU, we've beat them pretty bad twice. Seattle, is on deck. We're just going to kind of coast. So I don't know there's going to be a blowout or a huge margin. I might say 9 or 10. That might be where I'd go with it, 9 or 10. But I think Utah Valley wins that first round game.
Yeah, I think I'm with. I think Utah Valley wins. We agree on this one. I think the only question is how engaged will Utah Valley be with a CBU side that they've already swept by an average of 15, 20, something like that.
Maybe it'll just be. It's all about the start for CBU, I feel like. If they get off to a good start and can hang with the Wolverines for the first 15, 20 minutes, the second half might be interesting. They led GCU with about 13 minutes to go in the first half in Riverside on Saturday. It was 16-12.
Yep.
And then everything fell apart after that. I think it was a 29-5 run or something like that to end the half. And it was over. And then the body language just changes, right? You just can't recover from it. So it's all about the start for CBU. And here's the other kicker. They haven't had great starts at the WAC tournament, especially at Orleans Arena. So something to keep an eye on. Yeah, let's just see what happens with that one. Darth Dad question, thoughts about that. I wonder if CBU misuses Udrogo after watching him get few opportunities. Thoughts? I don't think they're going to misuse him. I think they've used him the right way all season long. I think that it's just a matter they don't have that guy like they had with Dom Dennis. They were 6-3 in WAC play before he went down. And so it's not the same team because they built most of it around Dom Daniels and what he could do, and everybody played off of him. And Udrogo has done his job. He's averaged a double-double almost, right? He's led the league in rebounds. He's done his job. I don't think they've misused him. I think maybe they'll try to pound him a little more pound the ball to him a little more. But it's going to be tough because, you got Trevin Dorius you're going up against. You got Osiris Grady. You got Ethan Potter. You got Nate Chimunga. So there's a bunch of guys that Todd Phillips can throw at him, right? And so that'll be the other one that you need to watch for CBU is if Hunter Goodrick plays well. Because if he plays well, CBU could be in this ball game. So that's my other thought.
I think it's going to be the biggest question is how good a job will CBU do of managing the disadvantage on the guard line?
Yeah, that's the big question. That's the big question of the day. So we'll see. Let's go to a couple comments here. And we got a special guest. They just showed up, so we'll get them on. I'm not gonna. I just gave it away who it is, so we'll get them on in just a second. Logan, I'm worried about CBU. I think their high intensity could be UVU's downfall, especially if UVU falls behind early. Agreed. What you're saying though, Kyle. Thanks, Logan. I think it's all about the start for CBU. I really do. If they match the intensity of Utah Valley, and Utah Valley lets them hang around instead of throwing that haymaker, right off the gate, or at least right before halftime, I think CBU possibly could pull off, but I still think Utah Valley is going to advance in this game. I really do. Just because CBU just doesn't have that guy. And if Scotty Washington isn't playing, they don't have that second guy, right? Wando Chuqueño is really good, but he's not as explosive as those other two. So that's just my thought. That's just my thought. Let's pull up this other comment. Darth, they had a size advantage when Wilson was in foul trouble and they kept the ball in the interior at UTA. Well, I think they did the same thing when they hosted UTA and beat UTA. That's their lone win. Well, one of their two wins, I should say, because they beat UTRGV. That's one of their two wins was beating UT Arlington in Riverside back in early February. So they have a good interior presence with Yvonne and with Hunter. And Kendall Coleman's really good too. So it's just, can they get enough out of the guards to hang around and create some chaos at Orleans Arena in that first round men's game? What do you think? Still on the UVU bandwagon, Daryl?
I think Utah Valley has too much firepower right now.
Yep.
It would be a different story if Dom Daniels Jr. was playing, if Scotty Washington was healthy, if we know he's healthy and playing. But based on what we saw Saturday, I got to believe Utah Valley is an overwhelming favorite in this one.
Yeah, and it will set up whoever wins this game, it sets up a very interesting quarterfinal game with Seattle U. Because if the Wolverines go play the Red Hawks, they split the season series, and it came down to couple final possessions in Seattle at the Red Hawk Center that was supposed to be on ESPNU, but it wasn't. And then if they play CBU, well, both the CBU games came down to a buzzer beater.
And a questionable buzzer beater at best at the Red Hawk Center.
Yes, 100%. So that quarterfinal game between either the Wolverines and Red Hawks or the Lancers and Red Hawks would be fantastic. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's get to the second game of the men's side, the last game of the first night of WAC Vegas. Did you see what I did there? we're going to bring in a special guest because they have insider info or anything they want to share about the team that they've been podcasting about all season. I'm a little disappointed that we won't get her partner in crime on with us, but Alex,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Hey, Alex.
I'm doing good. That's super zoomed in. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. We changed it up a little bit
God.
for us. So,
Yeah, that was too close.
I'm sorry that Jacqueline couldn't be here. I'm sad, but she's got to pack because you guys leave early on Wednesday. So,
Yeah, I haven't packed at all. So her excuse is she does too much yard work, and she looks like she's been doing yard work. So
nice.
I know I haven't done a thing, literally nothing, and we leave on Wednesday. You're right. So I need to step it up.
So I'm going to take a couple of comments here real quick.
Yeah.
Michael, I like ACU women, big country. Only play 10 minutes. I don't think the fresh. Yeah, ACU. If big country Addison Martin plays well, ACU should win that game. So I'm still going with my Peyton Hole prediction though. Only going to go with my Peyton Hole prediction. Connor, we eating good this tourney, man. So many fun matchups. Yes, 100%. And we're talking about one right now, which is technically a rivalry game, I want to say. What you're the Jack. So let's talk about this. SFA, ACU split the season series. Both won on the other's floor.
Mm-hmm.
The first one in Moody Coliseum went to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The second one at the Sawmill came down to a shot with 5 seconds left. That probably with a player that you don't really like, but I kind of like the chip he plays with on his shoulder in Ariane Simmons. But yeah, Brett Tanner was an assistant at SFA under Brad Underwood. I believe he's still got an SFA player as one of his assistants, unless that player moved on.
Yeah, I believe Antonio moved on, so he's not on the coaching staff anymore. But yes, he was an assistant coach, and he did play for SFA, yes, many moons ago.
Okay. So the Jacks won 2 games at home to end the regular season. First time since you guys have been in the WAC that they've been at home to end the regular season.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was nice, right? They get to sleep in their own beds before flying to Vegas. That doesn't happen. ACU split. They beat Seattle, and then they lost to UVU to set up this matchup with SFA. Woo! Nervous, excited, antsy. What do you think about the game on Wednesday night?
So yeah, I'm gonna take a lot from the guys' reaction during the Utah Tech's post-game presser. Frank and AJ both heard live that ACU is who they were going to be playing, and their reaction was very positive. I mean, they're not going to sit there and freak out, obviously, on a live post-game presser, but their reaction was very positive. They were pumped up. They were ready. They're ready for some playback, obviously, in regards to, beating us in the Sawmill. So I think they're in a very positive mind space, especially winning those last 2 games at home. That was really big for them. Confidence wise, they were turning it back on. Having AJ back in the lineup is just a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I said that on a tweet. Was that during the Utah Tech game or was that during the Southern Utah game? I think it was the Southern Utah game. That how much have the Jacks missed AJ Cajuste? And for a couple of reasons. One, he's the ball handler. He's the guy that gets everybody where they need to go, right? Mm-hmm. And that allows Latrell Giselle to play off the ball where he's better. Mm-hmm. Same with Matt Heyman. And it makes everybody just back to their normal spot, right? 2 is AJ gets downhill quicker than most guards in this league.
Yeah.
And they have missed that since he has been out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. You watch him more than I do. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. So your first comment, obviously having AJ back as, the main point guard allows Trell, Matt, Frank, all the guys who have been kind of moving around a little bit to kind of take over that role for him. puts them back in their original spot. Not saying that Trell did a horrible job. He did what he needed to do to get us to this point, which, again, hats off to him. But now he's back to his original role. Not saying he can't take the ball out, but you're right. Back to your second point, AJ is just so fast. And that's what we have been missing. You're, again, 100% right. Bringing the ball down so quickly. And he has such great heads-up ball presence and court awareness that if he sees a play and he sees an opening, he's going for it himself. Not many guys can do that playing the point guard that quickly. Again, his court presence and his kind of foresight for that is just unmatched. And then the Trell AJ connection is just insanity. I told Hunter that I really want a stat that kind of shows that Trell and AJ connection. Like, if you can show me how many assists he's given specifically to Trell in the past 2 years, like, I want that stat.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. The chemistry is there.
They're the Wonder Twins. Everybody calls them the Wonder Twins, like, because they're both obviously same kind of stature. Yeah. And they're awesome. They're such a pair.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing matchup. Again, we have on the men's bracket, we have non-Texas schools on one side and all Texas schools on the other. We know that it's a different style of play between the Texas. Well, not necessarily between the Texas schools. It's the same, but it's different than the style of play that'll be on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Different styles. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing too. Like, that's why playing ACU for the past X amount of years, either whether it be non-conference or conference, has been such a building rivalry, is because we have such similar styles of play. And that just, again, attributes back to having, Antonio Bostic and Brett Tanner obviously in the mix as well. Not saying that they were under Kyle Keller, but very similar styles of play defensively. And even Kyle said it, that during the ACU game, they switched to zone and they weren't prepared. And so he goes, that's not going to happen this time.
Yeah.
So
very rare that you see, sorry, Daryl, it's very rare you see Brett Tanner play a zone defense. So I know that's why they weren't expecting it. Go ahead, Daryl.
Exactly.
Why do I have a feeling that this game is going to come down to how it's called? If it, a very physical game or a game that's free flowing like the games on the upper half are going to be.
You know what? It's not officiated in Texas, so it probably will be a free flowing game.
I definitely, though, Daryl, I see what you're saying though. Every time we play ACU, it's always going to be a physical game, especially down in the paint. So I'm just ready for a great game, just in general. Obviously, I'm biased and I want SFA to get the dub, but it's always a good time watching these two teams come together and play. And I just know that the Orleans Center is going to be rocking on Wednesday night.
You know what? I'm gonna be a little devil's advocate here. I don't know if the Orleans is gonna be rocking on Wednesday night just because two teams in Texas from Texas playing late at night. I'm not talking like this is late for you guys. Like it's 10:30 in NAC for all the people that will be watching. So
let me be clear. It's going to be rocking because I'll be there. Jacqueline will be there.
Okay.
All of our main basketball, basically the people that went to the Grand Caymans, most of those people are going.
Okay.
So we have a very small but mighty group of people who will be there. So let me rephrase that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll see if we can get Hunter to go with us to dinner again after the games late at night. I'll teach him a new word this time. We will not discuss on this show what word I taught him last year. You'll have to ask Hunter, if you know Hunter, who we're talking about, what the word was.
For those of you watching in Texas, tweet out or post how many cups of coffee you have for those late night tip-offs.
Oh, my goodness.
I can already tell you from experience having to watch the California and Seattle games. It's rough. I will say that. Thank God.
Tip off though. They're like 6 tip off.
No,
so
I know.
It's 9 o'clock, not 10:30.
Oh, I know. But I'm just saying, thank God, majority of Texas is on spring break this week. So there will be a little bit of leeway, a little bit of thank God, kind of moment that they don't have to most people don't have to wake up super early. That'll be watching the game.
Yes, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. We were doing the math. So the women's game will be at 4:30. So I want to get your thought on this. We were talking about this on, was it Saturday night, Daryl? We were talking about it?
Yeah.
The women's quarterfinal game that the Lady Jacks are playing in is at 2:30 Vegas time, which is 4:30 NAC time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good time for a college basketball game, or is that not so great, like one of a tweet said earlier this week or a couple days ago?
Well, I don't know who tweeted that, but I feel like 4:30 is way better than 9:30 or 10. So
Thank you. We just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah. And it's a Thursday. Let's just be honest. There's not much going on at 4:30 on a Thursday in Nacogdoches. Nothing really starts popping off until 7 or 8 anyway. But that's just trivia. That's at 7. So there's plenty of time to go and do things after the game. But like I said, most people are on spring break, so 4:30 should be just fine. I mean, and I get obviously the lack of I don't know, prime time women's, but that's just the way it was scheduled. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
They can't really force ESPN's hand. It's kind of what they have to go with what ESPN offers. So
yeah, absolutely.
They're gonna take it and they're gonna run with it. So well, Alex, we appreciate you coming on. I needed to get you on this because you've got me on your podcast twice.
Yes.
So everybody follow Pardon Me Alex podcast or Pardon Me Alex on X, Facebook. What?
All of it.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X.
They are huge Jacks fans, and they're going to be hanging out with us down in WAC Vegas as well. Always a good time.
Absolutely.
And safe travels on Wednesday. We'll see you on Wednesday. And
can't wait.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye, Daryl. Night.
All right. That was Alex from Pardon Me Alex podcast. Love having her on. She has had me on twice on their podcast recently. So I'm very happy. She does it when I'm on the road somewhere. So the first time I had to do it from a car when I was driving back from South Padre Island, but that was my choice because I actually reached out to them to get on their podcast. So that's on me. The second time they wanted to talk about this week and this past week in the rankings and the tiebreakers and all that other stuff. So I had to do that as I'm walking out of my daughter's dance thing. Their last dance. I don't even know what the word is. Showcase of the year. So yeah, let's get to a couple comments here. Ray, hi. Yes. Hi, Ray from Edinburgh. Miss you, buddy. I need to come back down for a baseball game. I think I was told I need to come back to Edinburgh for a baseball game and hang out in the bullpen that's out on the other side of the fence. Guy, Wednesday should be a fun day of basketball. Yes, it should. See, you got another comment. Hull, Earl, Martin, big three for ACU. They play well, so goes the team. 100% agree with you. Look at this comment. You should remove the UTRGB until both men and women's basketball both make the WAC tournament at the same time. No, I'm not going to do that. I love every team. I cover every team, regardless of what happens. And injuries just killed those two teams this year. So we'll leave that alone. Michael Bolin can go either way. ACU likes the matchup as well. Keep money in my pocket. However, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Keep the money in your pocket for this one because it could go either way. He's talking about the ACU and SFA men's game. Yeah, could go either way. Let's get to Alex Small. Where should I get food in Las Vegas? Anything at Orleans? The place to hang out is usually just TGI Fridays. It's in there. That's where a lot of people go after games. Gordon Ramsay's Pub and Grill inside Caesar's Palace is nice. We go there before championship games on Saturday. But Yeah, I'll have to go in between championship games since the first one is at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. A hash house a go-go for breakfast. That's always a good place to go eat breakfast. I know some of us are planning on going to Giordano's on Friday night after the semifinals. It's over on the Strip by the Tropicana. No, not Tropicana. Oh, there's another one over there. Bally's? Yeah, right next to Bally's. So those are good places. Good segment. Yes, thanks, Michael Bullen. Alex is listening now. It's nice. I'm glad you're listening. That random bar we went to after the UV game, I don't know what the name of it is. It was just some seedy hole-in-the-wall bar that we went to where I was still licking my wounds from that semifinal game. I can't remember the name of it now. There is another place that my good buddy Jason Frank went to that I have open here. Where is it called? Rocky's Bar and Grill. It's kind of like what we went to, Alex. So there's a few places for you, Alec. I'm not sure what kind of food you're looking for, but there's a few places. So yeah. So Daryl, let's make a prediction on this. We're going to end this. We were going to talk about the postseason awards, but it's 45 minutes in, 48 minutes in. We've had some good talks here. Give me a prediction on the second men's game and final game of the night of the first night of the WAC tournament.
I haven't seen a lot of either side. I know enough to know this will probably be the closest game of the night. I mean, if I had to guess, let's see. I'll say SFA in a one possession game.
Ooh, there you go. I'm going to say SFA in overtime. Considering the games that these two teams have had, I'm going to say SFA in overtime. That's my thought. Wouldn't be surprised if ACU won, but I think SFA gets them in overtime. So with those predictions, so here we are. Let's see. Have you been to the restaurant Awana? What? Is that some kind of like joke talk? I don't know what that is. I'm not even going to look it up because I don't know what that's going to say. Anyways, I haven't been there if it is a real restaurant. So, anyways, guys, so we both had, let's go. Who did you have in the first game? We both had UT Arlington, right?
Yep.
The second game, you had Tarleton.
Yep.
And I said Peyton Hall was going to go for 25 and ACU was going to win on the women. And then on the first men's game, I think we both were on UVU, correct?
Yep.
And then in the second game, we're both on SFA.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, guys. That's what we got. Maybe we'll be back on Wednesday night after the games are done. Or if we can get into it, maybe between sessions, we'll do one to recap the women's games, you guys. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. WAC Vegas, like I said, about 40 hours away. So excited. So pumped. We'll see you at the Orleans Arena. If you see us, come say hi. We always love meeting fans. Let's have a good time. Be safe if you're traveling there. And good luck to all the teams. Congratulations to all the postseason winners. And we'll see you at WAC Vegas.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.